So I'll definitely say invest in yourself. Don't be scared to invest in yourself. Stay curious, be curious, remain curious. This is technology. Things are always changing. There's always going to be a new technology. There's always going to be something new taking place. And stay in the cutting edge of tech always.
What's going on, guys? It's me, Suleiman, back with another banger, another testimonial from one of my students who just recently pivoted, got hired from fintech to AWS cloud engineer. So he shares all the secrets, all the insights, how the academy helped him, how he got hired, what he recommends for all of you guys watching, what skills and areas to focus on. So lots and lots of value. Hopefully you enjoy this. Let me know in the comments what you think. And as always, all the best, lock in and get things done. Peace.
So, Rincon, tell me how it felt when you got that confirmation that you got the new role.
It was amazing. So it was good. It was good after a short stint of applying back and forth, but it was really, really good. Really, really good. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, and what were you doing in that moment when they called you?
So it was actually an email that I got through a recruiter. It was an email. So I had been applying. The truth is, funny enough, the backstory was that I had been applying in droplets,
Hmm.
but I wasn't really going full in. I remember there were times that you were even checking in.
Yeah,
I'll be very transparent with you. I think you were getting annoyed as well at one point,
yeah. I was
which is
checking
good.
in.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
good. Which is good because you were basically holding me accountable because I told you something and you were coming back to follow through as well, which is really good during that period of time. So I got a confirmation. It was quite quick, I'll be honest with you, because I remember I applied for that role in week one and I basically got the job in the second week.
Wow.
So yeah, it was through the second week. So what I done, I think it was Feb or January. There was a period of time that I said to myself, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing in the background,
Hmm.
everything I had going on. There was other few things that I was working on as well, other projects outside of tech. And I said, I'm just going to do this, just apply, 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 apply. Um, and then literally when I did that, I proper time myself. I set myself like a schedule of when, ideally by when I wanted to really get into a role. And it happened quicker than when I wanted, but I really had to close everything out and just block and just go in 100%.
Yeah, yeah. It's a common feeling and a common thing that I see with students in the academy. I always say, apply for jobs, right? Once you start focusing on that one thing, because you've already got the skills, right? You're learning the skills, you're learning in the academy, you're getting your certs. The only thing that you need to do now is just to apply, right? And I'm glad you locked in because I know, like, we were speaking for a long time. Like, I was just looking through our messages just to catch up
Yeah.
what's going on. Like I was following up with you every couple of weeks saying, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And you tell me the same, you know what? No excuses, but I just not being able to do it. And it's good at the start of this year, you thought, you know what? Let's go all in, lock in, and get to work basically. But that's like the fastest period of time that I've seen someone get hired. So week one you applied, week two you got hired.
Yeah.
What was the
Yeah.
interview process like? What did they ask you?
I'll be honest, so it was rigorous. They were asking deep questions. I remember one of them was more about instances. Um, for example, the instance hasn't got as much memory.
Hmm.
What is the problem and why do you get a fault that tells you that the instance is full?
Hmm.
The answer at that time, it was the disk, if I'm not mistaken, it was the disk, check the disk, you need to clear the cache of the disk and so on. And I remember I never got that one right. Out of all the questions, the interview was circa like an hour. It's quite rigorous, but it was questions that we learn in the academy. That's one thing I want to put out there.
Hmm.
It's things that you do learn generally. But what I've come to understand with each interview is that you're not going to know everything, but when you're speaking, if they can see that you're going towards that topic, that justifies it already. So, in what sense? I may not know the niche or the name because there's so many acronyms that we have in tech, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to cloud. There's so many acronyms. But if you know how to describe a real experience of what you did something, the person will be able to pick up this is what they're trying to say.
Mm, yeah,
So
you're
essentially, yeah. So essentially, it was good. I can't say, but it was fairly rigorous. When I say rigorous, I just mean like it was a lot of questions. It was two interviewers. I had two sets of interviews with two interviewers, and both of them were technical. With the recruiter, everything, of course, was more of just general conversations, checking out the background. But then with with the actual interviews, it was quite rigorous in terms of just asking you some technical questions. If I
Mm.
say it was easy, I'll be lying.
It's
But
it's
it
not
was,
going to be
yeah,
it's never going to be easy, but you have got the knowledge and skills. It's just like how
yeah,
do you illustrate the skills that you have, right?
yeah,
I like that you said that you didn't know the answer to that question, like fully, which is good because it shows you that you don't know everything, right? People think that you need to know everything to get hired, but as long as you're on the right track, they can then help you, coach you, direct you, which is important.
defo. Yeah, defo. I mentioned that. I like to highlight that it went well the interview, but that was one thing that stuck out at me because I said, "Oh, I didn't answer that correct." But in theory, I wouldn't tell someone to doubt themselves because, especially when you're going for a technical interview, they're evaluating you in many things, and a big thing as well is your soft skills.
Mm,
Something that I've picked up whilst being in tech for the last been now it's basically 3 years now. A lot of engineers don't have soft skills in terms of being able to describe something or speaking about a technical topic for business use case.
mm.
So people that are coming into tech, a lot of the times they come from like customer service or they deal with people, and that actually works at their advantage. So I'll definitely say that's someone that's coming in and doing the academy as well, but them not to feel as if they're left behind because a lot of the time your soft skills and your technical skills they go hand in hand really well.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. So as you start to progress through your career, actually your soft skills are way more important than your technical skills because your technical skills are your foundation, but your soft skills really propel you, right? Building relationships, giving updates, stakeholder management, solving the problem and be able to articulate it to, the leadership team, right? All these things that people don't consider. They just think certs, projects, build, lock myself in my room. But actually, no, you need to be able to communicate. It's like the most important skill, right? Be able to apply the problem and how it solves the business challenge. Like all of these things that people don't think about. And it's something that we're working on in the academy, like in the coaching calls, like, okay, you've got this architecture, but the point of the architecture is to solve a business problem. So it's like
Exactly.
taking the students through that mindset transformation that they need. But yeah, so how did the academy support you? During your job search. Like I said,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
kept in touch, right? When you were looking for jobs.
Definitely. No, no, no. You always checked in. That's something you always did. Randomly just pop up. You send me a message. What's going on? You always check in. So I definitely have to give credit for that because that was amazing. Um, Initially, I think best way that we touched base it was through a message that I messaged you. I saw yourself on YouTube, like everyone else as well, majority of us in the academy. And you helped. It was really good because you guided me at that time. I was already in tech actually. It was my first role, but I was coming from a FinOps role. Um, so that FinOps role, I was transitioning into a managed services role, and there you need to be technical. All fair play, the company that I was in, they were amazing in funding all the certs, everything that required for me to do the job. But one thing that I've picked up is structured learning. And that's what I came in the academy for. And I remember I was very explicit in that. I want structured learning because you can know something at a high level, but if you don't know the intricacies of it, then it's going to be difficult when you're trying to find the problem. It's, for example, I can give you a Terraform code, but if you want to see, let's say, for example, through the modules, you want to find out specifically where errors happen with a variable, you know where to go in the vars. So you know it's there where you need to modify it. But if you don't know exactly the structure of how it's structured at a high level, then you're going to get lost a bit. So that's what I wanted at that time. I wanted structure to things. Um, and then at that time, you helped tremendously. I remember, I think I was one of the first students as well, even before the academy had kicked off officially as well.
Yeah,
Funny
yeah.
enough.
I remember the call that we had because what you did first is right. You booked a coaching call with me, right, and
Oh
then
yeah.
we spoke through, right. We spoke through what you want to do, and you're like, "Hey, like in 3 years, I want to do consulting for myself. Like, I want to get into contracting." And he's like, okay, "How do I do it?" And at the time, I was doing the exact same thing, right? I was doing that. I was doing YouTube. I was growing the academy. So I was like, "Okay, this is what you need to do," right? And
Yeah,
then
defo,
next minute you've joined the academy after that. So what made you
defo.
choose the academy then over the other ones? Because there's loads of training academies, right?
Yeah, so it was with the cloud engineering one, it was the fundamentals of IT that came with it, all the fundamentals that you gave, SSH, Linux, all the fundamentals. Some other ones, after academy, I've also done other trainings. They are just small, in niches down.
Mm.
For example, in the academy, you're gonna have everything. DevOps, you're gonna have CI/CD, you're gonna have AI, you're gonna have cloud security. After someone does the academy, they need to continue developing themselves. And that's something that you really stress on. You're like, listen, go off and keep on learning, keep on building, keep on doing projects. So the Cloud Engineering Academy, if someone wants to know about cloud virtualization, how it really started, like the software development lifecycle, you explain all of this, and
Mm.
you need to know all these components. So from there, you can decide, all right, cool, I want to go into data engineering, which is really big now. It's really big
Yeah.
now, really big. Like data engineering's gone really big. AI, cloud security, there's DevOps, but there's so many places that if someone wants to decide where they want to go, the fundamentals are there within the Cloud Engineering Academy. And it's just been so brilliant to see. I think there was someone that came from banking as well, but they've gone on to be a data engineer.
Mhm.
So it just niches down where you ideally would like to go in the future.
Yeah.
And that for me is big because and what I've picked up with a lot of people that come to me and they say, look, I want to get into tech. And I don't necessarily know what I want to do. I can't just say to them, go into here, because maybe they may not like that. But maybe they're really attracted into cloud AI, into cloud security. And there's a lot going on in that space right now, a lot, especially data, AI. We hear about containerization, but there's a lot happening more on the data now. So much so that if you observe a lot of the cloud engineering hirings now, a lot of it is pushing for AI, data, cloud
Yeah.
security as well. And
Yeah.
I've picked up on this as well. This is where everything is really going. Containerization has been there and it's still then it's going to remain there, but AI, cloud security, and data it's another niche that's taking place. And a lot of people that may not say, I don't want to get too much into DevOps, but they want to go into that angle of things, which a lot of the transferable skills that someone may have, for example, in banking is data analysis. It's easier for them to transition into there. Or even people that just want to get into cybersecurity, but they want to be in a place where they don't just want to niche down on, like, for example, network security. They can go into cloud networking security
Mm.
and they can have a more vast element to their knowledge in tech as well.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. And that's what I always say to students is that cloud engineering will give you the breadth of knowledge. So you
Yeah,
learn about, speaking to clients, breaking down the problem, architecture, right? Then you go into development, then you can go into infrastructure as code, then you do your pipelines, then you do your ops monitoring, all that kind of stuff. And then you've
yeah,
got security as well.
a lot.
So you get like the full picture. It's like the software delivery lifecycle, right? It's the same with cloud. It's got like different functions that makes up cloud engineering. And only then, when you've got the exposure to all the different parts of cloud, because there's loads, right? Like you said, AI, data, security, all these other ones, right? Analytics, monitoring, containerization,
It's
deployments,
a lot.
all of these areas. You first need to get exposed to it all, right? And then you decide where do you want to specialize. So people come in and people message me all the time on LinkedIn, email, like, I want to do cloud security, right? I'm just like, okay, well, why? Right? Have you got
Yeah,
the general cloud knowledge first? Right? You need
yeah,
that first. And yeah, it's good that you said that because like everything that we're doing, it's focused towards AI and cloud security. So
yeah.
we just dropped an AI and ML module on AWS.
Nice,
So that
nice.
actually should be, you should have access to that. If not, let me
100,
know. And then,
100%.
yeah, security. And then
Yeah.
that's going nowhere.
One thing that I also must highlight, we have Terraform, we have CloudFormation, and we have CDK as well. Um, Something at the academy you do, you use different types of coding languages to deploy infrastructure as code.
Mm,
So, funny enough, a lot of the interviews that I was going for, a lot of them were mentioning CDK,
yeah.
Python, TypeScript. And for example, now, even the consultancy that I was at before, I will deal with a range of clients. So I had access to different infrastructures. Um, and a good majority of them were using Terraform, but some were leaning more upon CloudFormation. Where I'm going to be working now, for example, there are some technologies that involves Terraform as well, but I came to find out that I might be having access to CDK.
Mm.
And so in my head at that time when I was doing it in the Cloud Engineering Academy, I was like, where would they use CDK? But
Yeah.
look where what now I'm gonna probably be working on some CDK things, which I'll still probably have to go into the academy as well, check out the TypeScript because it's specifically that was depicted there on the academy. So it goes to show that the academy is good for someone that may not necessarily have any tech skills. Come in because you're gonna learn the fundamentals of IT, which will be required of you in the cloud.
Mm.
Because some boot camps, they won't be so as vast to explain certain different different types of infrastructure as code, and they won't do that. But from there as well, as soon as you learn the fundamentals, you go into your depths and swim as far as you want on that pond of whichever cloud stack you're going to be using. But that's what I'll put out there, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it's the reason it's structured like that. So when you join the academy, you do cloud formation first to really understand it. What is IAC, infrastructure as code? How to use cloud formation and use YAML? But then you do Terraform. And then when you get to Terraform, you realize that cloud formation is an absolute pain, right? It's really difficult. But then only then you can then move into the CDK because
Yeah,
CDK is literally a programming language, right? It's not as simple as just writing, declarative resources with Terraform. You need to have coding fundamentals, and that's why you do Python first, and then you do the CDK.
UK.
Very much structured like that. Now, what was like the overall experience in the academy like for you, from the modules to the calls to the workshops? What was like the overall review?
For me was I'll definitely say it's a 10 out of 10. At that time, it gave me everything that I needed.
Mm.
And at that time I was coaching calls when we were dealing with architecture, we were speaking about architecture, things like architecture, really understanding how components go together, understanding that there's many ways for one solution. I think that's a big one of many people because they think, right, it necessarily has to be this way. It doesn't have to be a specific way. The person that you may be attending to, the client, they may not necessarily want to optimize costs to have the best products, but you might have another client that might say, I want to optimize my costs as much as possible. So you have to be able to do that business case, but still deliver what they want. So it gives you that structure of understanding things in terms of the consultations that we had, the bookings and people that you brought on. So it was a great experience, I'll be honest.
Yeah, 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 amazing. What was there like? Was there a specific skill or knowledge from the academy that proved and gave you the most value during like your interviews, your job search, even on the role? Like, what was there anything that's really stood out that helped you the most?
I'll say CI/CD,
Hmm.
the fundamentals of it, fundamentals of CI/CD and architecture. I'll definitely say that as well.
Yeah,
I'll definitely say that.
yeah. I would say architecture is probably the most important part of the role. Like understanding how to solve a problem, but also making sure you're following the architectural components like, scalability, reliability. Um, you know, what else is there? There's loads, right? So just making sure you're hitting those components, just making sure what your solution has got those architecture best practices mapped to it. And a lot of
Therefore,
students don't understand what is high availability, right? Why does it matter, right? And I always say high availability is all about uptime, making sure everything's up and running. Yeah. So architecture, probably the most important, being able to break down your solution based on those best practices. Now, just circling back to your role, can you share some
okay.
details about the job you just landed and, what is it you're going to be doing, tools, technologies, maybe some projects that you're going to be working on?
Okay, 100%. So it's still cloud engineering fundamentally, but cloud DevOps engineering. So it's more focused on containerization. So that's what I wanted to niche into for now. A lot more. So involving a lot of containerization, dealing with Docker, Kubernetes as well,
Hmm.
and a lot of cloud security as well. So it involves a lot of cloud security, which I drew upon quite a lot of the things that we learned at the Cloud Engineering Academy as well. So we're a payments firm that really deals with a lot of payments, data analytics. So we support the transit here in Manchester. We have some big contracts as well up in London as well. So it's good because it's still in the cutting edge of tech, a lot of the technologies that we're using as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really, really happy for the role, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds really good. And how do you see your role and career kind of progressing over the next few years with your new skills and what you want to kind of do as well?
So now I'm actually at a product company. That's what I ideally wanted. I come from a consultancy background. So I saw how a consultancy operates. I was privileged as well to see how a startup operates as well. Because they were a startup, it is a startup that is funded as well by a FTSE listed company, with a focus on AWS that it was. So I saw how it grew tremendously. I think they're a premier partner now, if I'm not mistaken, just before I left, um, with AWS. So I saw how it grew. I got to see everything, and I got to cover a lot in terms of dealing with clients, being involved with a lot of projects. And now I'm in a product company. So it's still a lot of experience with more payments. So I really wanted to double into it still as well because of where I was in finance. So it links back to what I was initially and what I was doing in banking as well. So I'm really excited for it. So yeah.
Cool. Really cool. Why did you want to do product company over a consultancy?
The reason why I wanted a product, I wanted to understand the long term. When you work in a consultancy, you're gonna have a project that it can last for quite a long period of time. But at that time, I was also in managed services, so I was supporting professional services with projects. But I wanted to do something that I can be in a project for a long time and see how things it go after a while of time, like how it develops, being part of it, being part of decision making, which is something that I'm gonna have some autonomy with now in this firm as well. Some decision making in terms of how things should be structured, how things should be, um, how they were using infrastructure as code before, so things like that. So I just wanted to be within a firm that I can see the longevity of a product, how things are going, vice versa to be in a consultancy.
Hmm.
And I did it mainly because it will shape my career so that I have a wide range of experiences. It's still going to be a bit client facing, not as client facing as before. The consultancy, I would literally be speaking to clients, three or two different clients every single week in and out. It's not going to be as much as client facing. It's going to be the same clients, more static one that I'm going to be probably liaising with directly more. But it's going to be just to hone in everything more that I've learned in the technology. So that's why I wanted a product company. Whereas with a consultancy, you're going to have a wider
Yeah.
tech stack that you're going to be using. When you're in a product company, you already know this is going to be your bread and butter
Mm.
essentially every day. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. There's pros and cons to both, right? But it's good that you've got the reasoning behind it. Now, is there any advice that you'd give someone that's considering to make a career switch to cloud through the Cloud Engineering Academy? What would you say to them?
I would say do it. I'll definitely say do it. I've done it. Um, and a big thing to mention as well, a lot of people sometimes they shy away from the investment,
Mm.
but the way that the world's changing, I've got a degree, but I'll definitely say that self-education right now is a big route. And a lot of people in the UK, I would say more in the UK, it happens that we're so used to using those traditional systems, which they do work. But I'll be honest with you, what I've been seeing in the last 3, 4 years is that self-education has been leading people into a higher playing ground. That's the best way to place it. So I'll definitely say invest in yourself. Don't be scared to invest in yourself. Stay curious, be curious, remain curious. This is technology. Things are always changing. There's always going to be a new technology. There's always going to be something new taking place. And stay in the cutting edge of tech, always. That's
Mm.
what I learned from Naval Ravikant. Always stay in the bleeding edge of tech. Always, always,
Yeah.
always, always.
And it we know what the cutting edge is, but for people that don't know, right? What's the if someone wants to lock in, right, and they say, hey, okay, I'm going to get into cloud, right, through the Cloud Engineering Academy, obviously, but then they want to focus for the next 3 to 5 years on, deep expertise, specialize, be at the front of the technology revolution. Where would you say to lock in on, right?
AI, AI, cloud security, and DevOps,
Hmm.
but in that order specifically. In fact, I actually put cloud security first, AI, and then DevOps as well. These three you should really focus on
Mhm.
because cloud security is booming. There's a requirement for it. We saw what happened with CrowdStrike. We've seen what's taking place with AI as well in terms of ChatGPT, what's taking place with regulations, more regulations that they're going through. So cloud security is in the forefront to make sure that AI is expanding, but it's also protecting people's information as well. So it'll definitely be cloud security, AI, containerization. I say containerization not last because it's not important, but I say it because it's already there.
Mm.
But AI and cloud security is highly required now.
Yeah, it's like where the money is, right? It's just where all the cash is. If
We
you
know the
make a
reality.
lot of money now, like, my focus is actually at the intersection. So AI,
Okay.
cloud security. So it's like I've got cloud, I've got security. Been upskilling in AI for the last 18 months. So then, what does that put me in? It puts me like right in the middle
The
between
leading,
three
leading
areas. It's
edge.
like, that's where I would say lock in next. That's the decade play, right? I don't think in years, I think in decades, right?
Decades, yeah.
Think big, think long term, what's going to be here in 10 years, right? Then you can position yourself now. Whereas people think, okay, how do I position myself in 3 months? It's very short sighted.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice. So, is there anything else that you want to share with people watching? Because, dude, you're going to get thousands of people watching this video, by the way, right? They're going to be pinging you, they're going to be messaging you. This is,
I already get some. I already get some. I already get some.
yeah, yeah.
I
But,
already get some, I'll be
well, yeah,
honest.
what would you say to these guys and girls that are, watching, not sure
Yeah.
about, you already said about the investment piece, but like not sure about learning tech or learning cloud or um, they're just a bit scared, to take that leap forward. What would you say to these guys?
I would definitely say, outside of what has already been said, it's just do it. Just do it. And when I say just do it, have a long-term horizon for things. Give yourself a year. I'll definitely say a year. A year, 6 months, to be honest. Some
Mm.
people do it in 6 months. In my case, I came into tech. Do you know when everyone was just getting jobs like this?
Yeah, yeah,
I was like at the end.
yeah. Mm.
So I just slid into tech before like a lot of creators came out in relation to cloud, because I found out through a client I was dealing with in banking about tech, and he opened my eyes um, in regards to opportunities and what I can do and what I enjoyed in tech as well. Because I don't really enjoy front end. I like the cloud infrastructure. I really like that piece. So I'll definitely say set yourself a time frame. Okay, in 6 months I want to get here. In 1 year, and what you were saying is spot on about 3 months. Sometimes you want something quick. It's not going to happen like that. You need to have 6 months, and but those 6 months, every single day you're taking out 2 hours just to develop upon yourself. 2 hours, being consistent with those 2 hours. I've been until today. I'm still developing. So just being consistent with those 2 hours and keeping a medium to long term approach
Mm.
because things are changing rapidly. They're always changing. The economy, um, technology, but you yourself, you need to be consistent with what you set for yourself and create those opportunities. Don't wait for opportunities to come to you. Create them. In tech, you need to create them. There's some people, for example, they entered into a more of a security role based upon what they learned in the cloud, but it's all transferable because a lot of the ways that security is going is involving the cloud, whether you like it or not, whether it's cybersecurity as well. So stay curious, stay hungry, and open doors for yourself as well. Literally, in what sense? Reach out to recruiters, reach out to people that work in firms. Just go in people's DMs on LinkedIn. I get DMs. I will literally some even this week. There's someone that's going through an interviewing process as well. I'm speaking to them.
Mm.
Last month there was someone. People just randomly message me, and then I just give them tips. I'll give them tips. I'll be honest with you. I'm not saying please,
Yeah.
but randomly I've come to understand that the people that get ahead are the people that just put in the work. You
Mm.
put in the work. You literally put in the work. It's not just you learning. It's what you said earlier. Not just you learning Kion Academy. It's you actually going out there, speaking to people, networking. Until today, I still go to local DevOps meetups in the area that I'm in as well. So just be active. Be active. one part that I do confess I fall short on is LinkedIn in posting. Um, I'm very open to that. I'm
Yeah.
very open to that. But even that, I need to change that as well. So it's just developing, getting yourself out there, speaking, not being scared. Even if you're in a other field of work, still show your interest as well in getting into tech because you don't know who's around you that is already in a position that they can guide you in a way you need to go. Because I noticed that when I would strike conversations with someone, I may not know it, but that person knew someone that they placed me in contact with that was also in tech.
Mm.
And they gave me knowledge, they gave me wealth, or even opportunities that they opened for me. So just stay curious. I was in a firm that I was in before, and I learned so much, in terms of how corporates work. But where it is for someone to be in a high corporate position to go off to start up their own consultancy, I learned a lot. So just stay curious, put yourself out there, and just keep it going, keep building.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Love that, man. I do think what you said about 6 months is that night. It's like a realistic timeline. Most people think,
Yeah,
right, I feel like some people think 6 months is a long time, but then some people think 6 months is not enough time to make the switch and pivot. I actually think 6 months is very, very realistic. Now, one of our
it's a sweet
students
spot.
joined in January, and he
Okay,
this week he got hired in a consulting role,
there
and
we go.
he came from sales. So it's like
There we
in
go.
4 months, basically in 4 months, he'd gone from zero with the academy to hired, which is insane, right? 4 months transformation. And yeah, so I just think if you lock in, like you said, you take action, you set that goal, you begin with the end in mind, and then you start working backwards and you put in the steps. All it
100%.
requires is just focus. Like everyone is so distracted right now, right? So it's actually never been easier
Easier.
to
Yeah,
succeed.
yeah,
Like it's there for
yeah.
the taking. Like if you want to make 6 figures, right? It's easy. I know it sounds crazy, right? We're saying it's
It
easy.
does.
It genuinely is because all you need to do is do what other people can't do is put the phone away, right? And just lock in, right? Just put the phone away, even if it's 2 hours a day. It gives you so much progress and it's all
It
about the
gives you an
baby
edge.
steps. Yeah.
It gives you a big edge, a big edge.
Cool. All right, man. Listen, great to catch up with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you progress. Want to see you post more on LinkedIn for sure. And then yeah, take it to the next level and get in consulting, build your own business and all that kind of stuff. Because I know that's an ambition that you have.
Thanks, so.
Yeah. Let's go. Take it easy, dude.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.